Hello everyone, and welcome to ASMR Ghost Stories. If you enjoy ghost stories, or anything of the paranormal, or say a crazy witch hunt, then welcome. All my stories are told in either soft spoken or whispered. So before you grab your headphones to get the full ASMR experience, hit that subscribe button and the like button. Kind of fill me up with a little dopamine over here. And the notification bell, because I do upload twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. And before we begin, I do have my dogs in here with me. I apologize right now for all the sounds they may make. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And today's story is on the Summerwind Mansion, a terrifying ghost story. The Haunted Summerwind Mansion, a terrifying, true ghost story. If you're anything like me, you enjoy reading a good ghost story. I've read dozens over the years, but only a few have really stuck with me. The Haunting of Summerwind Mansion is one of those ghost stories that you just can't shake. It reminded me so much of Amityville Horror and The Shining. I had to research and learn as much as I could about it. It might be a story that sticks with you too. Here's the haunted tale of a house with multiple restless ghosts that inevitably took possession of a man in a haunted area of Wisconsin. Summerwind Mansion was once a stately home situated on West Bay Lake in the haunted state of Wisconsin. Today, only its ruins remain, its chimney and stone foundation. Built in the early 1900s, sources say it was first a fishing lodge that was then bought and renovated by Robert Patterson Lamont in 1916. The renovations took 2 years, but when the Lamonts were finally able to move in, they suffered through some terrifying experiences. History of the West Bay Lake in Wisconsin. Before we go deep into the experiences of the Lamonts at Summerwind, I'd like to explore the history of the land where the house was built. I find the history of the land frequently influences hauntings and other tragic happenings. The energetic residue that the land holds can add to many problems for those who build and or live on it. West Bay Lake is located in Vilas County, Wisconsin, a county that was once mostly forested before its establishment in the 1800s. But the settlers weren't the first people to live there. The Chippewa people hunted, fished, and lived in Vilas County for centuries before the settlers came. I'm sure we had a hand in killing off the indigenous there. Further, a large portion of the forested wilderness would be cleared to make room for farms and development. The Hudson Bay Company and the American Fur Company are to blame for the first massive land clearings. I believe when land clearings take place, especially large ones, we disturb the ecosystem physically and spiritually. The land spirits are angered and they may hang around and cause issues for those who have disturbed them. Now, on to the haunting. The Lamonts' terrifying encounters in Summerwind Mansion. The Lamonts were sitting in their kitchen at their newly built Summerwind Mansion, eating dessert and a chat when the door to the basement began to open slowly. Out came a ghost that moved quickly towards them. Mr. Lamont grabbed his gun and shot 2 bullets at the spirit, but the bullets tore through the specter and hit the basement door. In terror, the couple fled the house and never returned. The Kiefers by Summerwind Mansion. The Lamonts sold Summerwind to the Kiefers in the 1940s, and the family owned it until the 1960s. Interestingly, the Kiefers never lived in Summerwind Mansion. People who toured the haunted home claimed Mrs. Kiefer would never go inside with them. In the 1960s, Mrs. Kiefer sold the haunted Summerwind Mansion a few times, but each time the buyers couldn't keep up the payments, and Mrs. Kiefer was forced to take back ownership. The true haunting of Summerwind Mansion, the Henshaw's story. The true haunting of Summerwind began in the 1970s when a young married couple and their children moved in with big plans to renovate. Ginger Henshaw claims they couldn't find any workers to renovate the home, so they were on their own. In the midst of renovations, Ginger and the children experienced some frightening things at Summerwind Mansion. They saw ghosts and shadowy figures in the hallways, and the ghost of a woman in their dining room on several occasions. Ginger claims her friends encountered the ghost in the dining room, fled the house, and never returned. Arnold Henshaw is tormented by spirits. Arnold Henshaw reportedly suffered a mental breakdown and lost his job after moving into Summerwind. Ginger believes it was the house, that the spirits tormented Arnold while they lived in the mansion in haunted Wisconsin. The first signs of Arnold's breakdown included his obsession with playing the piano/organ at night, sometimes all night long, and an unfounded anger towards his family. Once Arnold Henshaw unalived one of the children's pets to prove a point. Some accounts claim Ginger Henshaw attempted to unalive herself while living in Summerwind Mansion. The stress was just too much for any family to withstand. The terror continues. Ginger's father purchased the home next for renovation. He had high hopes to turn the mansion into a restaurant on the lake. But the ghost stories didn't stop there. Ginger's brother encountered a ghost on the second floor, and when he ran down to the first, he witnessed a replay of the Lamont's experience with the ghost from the basement. He heard a scream and 2 gunshots in the kitchen, smelled gunpowder, and saw 2 bullet holes in the basement door. The terrified brother fled Summerwind and never returned. Other eyewitness accounts and an ever-changing house. The renovators working on Summerwind Mansion during that time experienced horrifying paranormal activity on a regular basis. Their tools would inexplicably go missing, and when they were drawing up new blueprints of the haunted Summerwind Mansion, they would come to find the house's dimensions physically changed. Was the house moving and expanding on its own? My dog's going nuts over here. This reminds me of the ever-changing Winchester Mansion in California. Demons and hypnosis. During the renovations done by Ginger's father, Ginger herself offered to hypnotize her father and brother. During the hypnosis, a dark, evil voice came from Ginger's brother, claiming it was very strong. Ginger believed her brother was possessed during the hypnosis and attempted to exorcise the spirit from her brother, which supposedly worked. Once Ginger hypnotized her father had a vision of going into the basement at Summerwind Mansion and finding a box with a deed inside. The deed was for the Summerwind property and was signed by Jonathan Carver. Who was Jonathan Carver? Ginger's father claims Jonathan Carver was an explorer and was given a deed to 1/3 of the state of Wisconsin. Also, he believed the deed was somewhere hidden in the foundation of Summerwind Mansion. The ghost of Jonathan Carver was haunting Summerwind, according to Mr. Henshaw. The land deed was never found, despite Ginger's father's efforts. Summerwind's original investor from 1916 claims he didn't know of anything placed in the foundation. In 1988, after Summerwind Mansion was sold to Canadian investors, the home was struck by lightning and burned to the ground. The ruins of Summerwind. The ruins remain to this day and are on private property, though people who visit the ruins claim objects fly around the site and strange orbs have been photographed. Is Summerwind Mansion haunted by Jonathan Carver's ghost? Is he so hell-bent on finding his land deed that he would do anything to get it back, even in death? Or is Summerwind Mansion haunted by something more sinister? Something that's sole purpose was to drive families apart and wreak havoc upon everyone there? Whatever haunted Summerwind Mansion is uncertain. But one thing is for sure, it didn't want anyone living in the home. Here's an update to the story. I recently had a man reach out to me to ask if I'd be interested in aiding in the design of a new Summerwind mansion. No matter how intriguing this sounds, I believe leaving Summerwind at rest is probably best for the spirits who were tormented there. Rebuilding something like Summerwind that burned down is just asking to stir up more negative energy, and truly we should just let it lie. And there you have it, the haunted Summerwind Mansion. Thank you so much for listening today. I'd appreciate it if you subscribed to this channel. Hit that like button so I do know that you are enjoying these stories. And if you have an idea or a story of your own, or a link to a haunted story, comment below or send me an email. My email is in the description box. So, also, hit the notification bell because I do upload twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. So, until then, and the next time